The most competitive genre on Dreams by far has to be platforming. To get a basic platformer is fairly easy with the materials Dreams offers, but the polish and refinement are what makes this genre so tricky to be the top dog in. So, today for our genre list, we'll be taking a look at around 7 games within this medium, and at the end you can let me know which one was the best and which one caught your eye. Now of course we'll be including story driven platformers, 3D platformers and 2D platformers in this list, so regardless of what you like, you'll find something you enjoy. So let's start with one we all knew was going to be on this list. Trip's Voyage by Eupholius. Nowadays you can't discuss Dreams without talking about the powerhouse that is Trip's Voyage. It features a cat jumping around collecting anchors among 4 fleshed out worlds with all these wacky characters and even costume customization, which was added in for the protagonist. The game is ultimately refined and polished and really manages to bring back that classic GameCube era 3D platforming experience. The only fault this game seems to have is its comparison to Mario. As the critique stands, it's just a Mario clone. I find that a little unfair, as while the character's movements and slight dimensions have a Mario similarity, the game feels very much still its own, and the refinement and polish that the game has really does set it apart from what I would consider a Mario clone. Next up, another knockout for the platformer genre is Scraps by Mittermac. This plucky little game has seen several updates over time and feels really fun and fleshed out. The characters are cute and well designed. He has also added character customization as well, and a shop, which is always cool in my opinion. But the best part of this is Scrap's movement. He's got the heaviness of a platformer, but he's got the speed of Sonic, which makes for a really fun run around the world that Mittermac has built. Fighting the enemies is great, and the fact that the music dynamically changes whether you're free roaming or fighting is a really welcome touch. The only critique I've seen of this game seems to be the emptiness of the open world, but considering you're really supposed to be dashing through the area from point of interest to point of interest, I'd say that's also a relatively unfair critique. Up next is Tiny Quest by Pixel Gorilla and Joe Vork. Let me tell you, this is actually one of my favourite games on Dreams. It's a one-screen Metroidvania style game which features you as an ant scaling this beautifully designed outer world trying to become a wee ant king. You get power-ups, high scores, and just a fun adventure overall. While the experience is relatively short, I just find it so pleasing to look around and run around the world in all its different biomes. They are so well designed. You really do feel like an ant exploring a massive kingdom. It's a little tricky, but once you get used to the scaling and some power-ups, it becomes a breeze. Out of everything on this list, I wish that if there was anything to get a sequel, it would be Tiny Quest 2, especially with all the Dreams, tricks and abilities that have been added to the game since. I really think this game would be insane if it got a second one. Kuro and Shadow's Dream by Bananable. So I don't know why that was so hard to say. I should probably just retake this, but never mind. Kuro and Shadow's Dream by Bananable is the perfect example of less is more when it comes to stylized platformers. It gives the feeling of a grand adventure, and it really is nicely put together. The imagery is stunning, and all the contrast of colours really makes this game stand out on its own. It's a shorter experience, but with the power-ups and little puzzles, it'll have you definitely picking up an idea or two if you decide to make your own platforming experience. And that's also the reason for this list. I'm adding some things that might not be the longest, might not be the best, but the style of it is so good that it'll definitely give you ideas. And of course, if you're enjoying watching the video so far, please considering subbing to the channel. I'm trying to hit 1,000 by the end of this year, so if you do subscribe it would really help me out. Okay, on with the video. Artsy World Platformer by Lee Oyster is really as it sounds, a short artistic platformer that sees you as a wee doodle running and jumping across various artistic equipment like paper, spray cans and art supplies. The gameplay is very simple, with no real animation attached to the character, and it's not necessarily a difficult game. However, the style of the level and the style of the world is why it's on this list. This is a very short, one-level platformer that sees you sprint, wall jump and collect letters across a beautifully designed hellscape that leads into the stars. With tight controls and a great wee protagonist, you'll love the charm that this short experience brings to the table. The coolest aspect of this is it was actually created within 24 hours, and that is why it's on this list. If you feel like you don't have time to make something, use this as inspiration. Everything you're seeing right now was made from scratch and created within 24-hour time limit. Minus Red. Red is a character that has been worked on and used before, but that was the kind of caveat. This was a challenge by Media Molecule, by the way, which is why I'm talking about it. So you can definitely make something you'll be proud of within a short time, and that's the beauty of platformers. Platformers don't require years and years of work. The thing is, a fun platformer is part beauty of the surroundings, part challenge. And I really think that that's probably the easiest thing to make in Dreams. So if time really is an issue, don't worry, because you can make something good within a short time limit. And lastly, we have Rogue State by ED209B. This Neon City 2D Mirror's Edge style game sees you jumping from roofs, fighting cops and doing daring stunts. It's fun, fast paced and looks good. I love the city backdrop as it really makes you feel like there's so much more to explore even though you're in a 2D setting, and again, even though this is a short experience, it's definitely one that you should use for inspiration as it uses a sort of parkour-esque to its platforming, so it's not your regular kind of protagonist press X and he does a little hop over things. This is a bit more stylised. And there we have it, 7 platformer type games to use and play as inspiration. I hope you've been enjoying this series as I've been making it. I do make one of these every Monday, but for now, that's all for me. Thank you very much for watching and I'll see you next week. Bye!